Hello dear listeners, welcome to AchtungMillwall. Before we get into the meat of today's show, after that debacle at Ipswich Town last night, I thought I'd just take a little moment of your time to remind you that Christmas is coming and there is no better Christmas gift for the football head in your life than a good game of Pundit. Go to punditgames.co.uk. It's the ultimate football trivia quiz game. Includes 8 categories of questions: England in the 1990s, England 2000s, England Premier League in the 2010s, the Football League, the English national side, Champions League, international players and the World Cup. Fantastic trivia game. As you know, for each show we try to give you a little taster question, so I'm going to give you one now for England Premier League in the 2000s. This is a little taster question of the kind of things that you can expect from pundits. Before Luka Modric, the Premier League had another Croatian midfield dynamo. This is a man who could score goals from just about anywhere with either foot. Just ask Tottenham or Portsmouth fans, or ask Harry Redknapp, it says, who adored him. So this is a Tottenham and Portsmouth Croatian midfielder, beloved of Harry Redknapp. His career took in such clubs as Dinamo Zagreb 2001-5, Hajduk Split, then Pompey from 2006 to 2009, Spurs 2009-12, 49 appearances for Tottenham, 9 goals. He then went to Dynamo Kiev, QPR on loan, then the New York Cosmos, and finished his career at Rangers. He played for the Croatian national side 81 times, scoring 16 goals. So a Croatian beloved of Pompey and Spurs fans, signed repeatedly by Harry Redknapp. We're going to give you the answer to that question at the end of today's edition of Achtung Millwall. Visit punditgames.co.uk.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Every minute of every day I've spent working with this group so far, I didn't expect a performance in terms of the application of that and getting the basics so wrong. And like you say, at this level, I think the division's looking strong this year, but these are one of the ones that are really setting the benchmark. And at this level, you get the basics wrong, particularly around your own box. Even when you've got so many players in and around it, so many good defenders we've got, midfield players ready to do jobs, you get the basics wrong, you get punished. As I said, whether you play a back four or back five, if you defend like that in and around your own goal against players like them at the moment that are proving to be clinical, which is what we need up the opposite end as well, you're going to be on the receiving end of nights like that. Yeah, I didn't like any of it. The belief, the body language, the look of it, I didn't like any of it, and I told them at half time. It's the first real chat we've had of anything like that, because I haven't seen it since I've come in. So there was no warning signs for me that a performance like that might be coming. But we'll be certainly talking about it a lot, because that's not acceptable and that's not good enough.
Achtung, Millwall.
That voice you're listening to there, dear listeners, was of course Joe Edwards speaking in the immediate aftermath of what was a salutary defeat up there at Portman Road, to say the least. Salutary is the best word I can think of in the moment. It was a thumping, in my opinion, overall. But joining me to kick over the traces of that shellacking, there's another word that's come into my head, shellacking. We've got star of BBC London Sport, Radio 606, ITV, EFL coverage, but a long-time member of the most exclusive club of the lot. That's the Achtung WhatsApp group chat. It's Mr. Aaron Paul. How are you, Aaron?
Oh, great to be back on the world-famous Achtung Millwall. Big in Bermuda, massive in the Maldives. Uncle Nick, I just wish we'd be talking about something a bit more positive, because that was shit.
It was utter pony. Anyway, there we are. Also, is the voice of the increasingly successful Erith Town Dockers debate show, a media figure in his own right, stalwart of the MSC. It's Mr. Michael Avery. How are you doing, Michael?
Very well. By a media star in his own right, it's people at non-league grounds going, "Here, you put that pod out yet?" That's pretty much what I get. But yeah, not nice to be back talking about Millwall. Or not sure if it is nice after last night. But hey ho, hello everyone.
No. It's a terrific little show, listeners. If you do want to keep up with the Erith Town's doings, it's a great production that Michael's putting on there. But finally, joining us from somewhere deep in the secret location, somewhere in the southeastern corner of England, it's Mr. Harry Warren, a media figure in his own right as well. Mr. Harry Warren, how are you doing, H?
I think I am the second most hated Millwall online figure today after a certain other YouTuber.
Oh dear, hate is a big word. There we are, gentlemen. What can we say? Last night's defeat was demonstrated, if nothing else, to me the scale of the task in front of Joe Edwards. I mean, Aaron, you were covering the game, I believe, mate. I thought it was a demonstrable golfing class last night. Not helped at all by the fact that we we didn't help ourselves, did we? By not giving 100% for the manager. In my opinion. What did you see it?
Where do you want me to start, Uncle Nick? Because that was the most Millwall performance I've ever witnessed. That was worse than Norwich. It was worse than Norwich because they didn't try. There wasn't really that much.
Yeah, I agree.
Chances, obviously, one of them being the Nisbet goal. It was routine for Ipswich, so much so that, I mean, they got to half time 3-0 up, and everyone was like, "This could be 6 if they decide to bother playing." And in truth, I reckon Kieran McKenna probably said to his lads, you know, he's a new head coach. Just like, let's go easy on him. They declared at half time Ipswich 3-0, job done, game over. So much so he changed his entire front four in the second half, which is something he does quite often. Kieran McKenna, it's like a bolt on, bolt off job, which is really good. I mean, great resources to have that. But the second half was one of the biggest wastes of time of my life. We sat there. I was doing a quiz with my producers back at base. There was nothing happening. Ipswich were knocking the ball around like they were training, like it was a charity exhibition, that kind of thing. It got so tedious that I actually remarked on air that the atmosphere was that akin of like a sort of a Starbucks. People just having random chats, talking about what they've been up to at work and what's going on here and what's going on in life. Millwall did not show. I think when you're not starting someone like a Jake Cooper in a game like that, I just don't understand. I don't understand. There was no heart, no drive, no desire, no fight. At least with Millwall, you know that, once upon a time, people like Sav and stuff, they go and smash people out a bit and they'd bully teams. This was South London Cuddle Club FC. Sorry, Harry, to use your phrase, but yeah, this was South London Cuddle Club job, and this was a rollover. Let's get tickled and let's fuck off back down the A12. Very disappointing. Very, very disappointing.
Extremely. I mean, Harry, we were just talking off air, mate, about some of the unusual decision making. I mean, Joe Edwards is only 3 weeks into the job. I'm certainly not going to join the chorus that's already started online about whether we made an awful mistake. But some of his choices last night, I'm going to put down to the fact he doesn't quite know the players 100% yet. What do you think? I mean, dropping Jake, leaving Longman in. How did you see it, mate?
How did I see it? Okay, let's try and be balanced, which I'm not normally.
Not normally balanced. That's not why I bring you on the show.
No. Yeah, this could be quite a short managerial reign, can't it?
You think so? Seriously?
Yeah, I seriously do. The problem is he might be a great coach and he might be a fantastic football, disciple, but unfortunately, the players that we've got, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. And unfortunately, that's what we're going to attempt to do with this bunch of players. That's fine if you've got credit in the bank and you come in with a bit of credit. And I think winning 4-0 with the benefit of hindsight could almost be the worst thing that could have happened. It sort of raised expectations, and then they've been very much in a week changed into we've taken 2 shellackings, and possibly you could get another one at the Den on Saturday, and then it's just the confidence goes, and if he's coming to play attacking football and you suddenly then go back to trying to play a defensive Rowett style that we can't do either, we're kind of stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. I do want to credit, but for him to get time and credit, you're going to have to make decisions people can understand and go with, and let's be honest, Longman left wing back. I mean, Murray Wallace was awful against Coventry, but I weren't going to slate him for it because I think he's doing his best. Murray is out of his depth, but we didn't find another left back that can stay fit. So it's kind of his fault that he's even playing. But to play Murray Wallace in front of Jake Cooper is very odd, unless Jake's injured and we don't. So I think you've got to give him time, but people's patience will only last so long. And if you kept, our next 3 games are all remarkably difficult. And it just feels like if you lost all 3 of them and you're conceding 3s and 4s, how long do we look at it before we go, fuck me, we are in a relegation fight here, and we've got we've got a head coach, shall I say, with no managerial experience, who may look out his depth. And I don't think the backroom staff that he's got fill me with confidence, if I'm being totally honest.
Michael, I mean, I think, I mean, listening to the post-match interview with Max, I'm going to guess the press conference was the same. The one on Mill TV was pretty much what I've seen on the on the reports. That was quite an early stage in a managerial career, 3 weeks in, to start pretty much questioning some of the players. I don't know if the commitment's the right word, but certainly their quality and can't remember he phrased it as Joe Edwards, but he said something along the lines to, Mill fans are entitled to expect better than that. It was going down that road of questioning commitment and quality. I mean, I personally think, and I'm interested to see what you think, Michael, but I think this is what bedevilled Gary Rowett, late period Gary Rowett, that he was not getting the full commitment. Now, you can talk about tactics and managers' style and defence versus attack, blah, blah, blah. But if that squad don't give you everything, and I don't think Gary Rowett got everything from them, and I think quite early on, Joe Edwards is getting the same sense that some of the players out there were strolling around like, as Aaron said, it's like a training exercise. I don't think we're getting the best out of Zian Fleming. I didn't see anything from him last night. I didn't see anything from the likes of Ron.
Sorry, Nick. You mentioned that name and it's kind of triggered me. I apologise, Michael, because I know you ain't jumped in on a question. His attitude was abysmal yesterday.
I agree. Yeah,
nothing short. That's not how a Millwall Football Club player represents the badge.
Should behave. No, I agree. I agree.
He has looked disinterested. I've said it for months. He's looked disinterested since the first links to Burnley came out. Forgo your bonuses. Hand in the transfer request. Go to Cav. Give him a transfer request. Say, there you go, Mr. Kavanagh. I ain't interested anymore. Sell me to the highest bidder. Good. Move on. Don't lurk around. Even, look, I know this is obviously, me sort of spending time in and around the first team squad and, interviewing people and stuff like that. When Zian came to the football club, he was great. Really, really enthusiastic. He was great. He was like a young pup. Now, I don't know. There's just something about him I'm not a fan of. That's just an opinion. That's just my personal opinion. But his attitude yesterday stunk.
Poor. I mean, I agree. Michael, my point I was making was that, and Zian's a good example perhaps, but any manager's entitled to expect 100% from his players. I'm not sure Gary Rowett got it. I'm not sure that Joe Edwards is seeing it last night. How did you feel?
Well, this is the thing with me. Like, I know what Harry's saying there, and I know this. Let's be honest. I know Harry wasn't 100% behind the appointment of Joe Edwards in the first place. But if that's the case, where Joe Edwards is coming out and rightly is questioning how some players should be, I have no problem with that. And if that's the case, and if it's the case that nobody seems to be putting it, or not nobody, but there's certain people who don't seem to be putting in the right shift. What we got about 3-4 weeks until the transfer window's opened? Get rid of them then. Get rid of them then. Bring in some that want to, because ultimately this isn't a Joe Edwards thing. This isn't a Gary Rowett thing. This isn't whatever manager comes in. This is a problem with the players who don't want to be here. Yeah, ultimately, and anyone can say about Joe Edwards, and in the nicest way, and please don't come after me on social media, but the people who have been tweeting already that he needs to go or should go or it's the wrong appointment. No, it's not. I don't think it is. I think the thing is, well, like there was one bit where we was 3-0 down. He made a substitution. I think it was. I can't remember. Was it brought? I think it might have been Bradshaw, but he's high-fiving him as he comes off. So there's clearly a little bit there where there's still that connection. They're not storming past him and getting the ump and don't want to play for him and disrespecting him. I think as well what we need to look at as well. Yes, Millwall weren't particularly good last night. They were shocking, but Ipswich were very good. And to have 1 or 2 wins or 3 wins might be considered luck or a lucky start, but we're nearly halfway through the season now, and they're second behind Leicester, who up until recently were running away with it. They're not a bad side. They've won,
Mickey. They've won 16 from their last 17 games at home. They've scored 59 goals in the process. If you don't expect to get a battering when you go there, then you might be a bit naive. And there are some teams that will go there.
No. But my point. But my point with that is backing up, they're a good side.
I'm reinforcing what you're saying. They're attacking side. I think the biggest problem is just the lack of effort and the lack of Why? You know what? Go in there, start hitting people, start crunching people, show them that you care. Like the fans are traveling.
-3,
-4 yesterday last night.
The thing is as well, just quickly before we go keep going on. I said it to Nick before like Harry, you joined. We need to distinguish as well as fans before we start getting on people's back what is a tactical mistake and what is actually down to the players. You know, in the nicest way, Murray Wallace, we said it there, voted for him player of the year, great player, one player of the year, rightly so. But there was a few times yesterday when, you know, like an Ipswich player's out wide, Murray Wallace is standing 2-3 yards off him, can't get near him. And unless the tactic from Joe Edwards is, I'll tell you what, lads, stand 2-3 yards off every player who gets the ball, let them bring the ball down, look around and ping it around before you try and tackle them, then that's it. But if that's not the tactic, you've got to question the players. Letting the players do this kind, like letting the Ipswich players. I mean, I saw something online recently where someone's had a shot. Bart saved it, went 20 foot in the air, come back down, and then they basically didn't deal with it properly.
You know
That's not a tactical decision.
Bart yesterday, he was rolling back the years with some of them saves.
Oh, he's brilliant,
mate. He's back in form. I said on Saturday.
I know he gets shit. Someone else turned around to me and said he looks like he's done a bit of timber, you know? He looks a bit more leaner as well.
Look, let's be honest. If Bart was in goal last season, we'd have made the playoffs. I stand by it. I'm
100% with you on that, Harold.
It's bullshit. You clearly had a falling out with Rowett. It's clear. That's why you weren't going to get back in this season. That's why they spent £1.2 million on a goalkeeper we don't fucking use, who can't stay fit. You know, all this hangover, so I'm going to dump some more Rowett shit on things, is that basically a lot of Joe Edwards' problems are caused by Gary Rowett. And the people that are fucking hating Joe Edwards now, admittedly, I'm saying it could be short, because unless he finds a way to sort it out, defeats, it don't matter whether you're right, wrong, or otherwise. At the end of the day, football's a results-driven business. But, fuck me, that team's shit. Like, honestly, we are shit. We're not a Millwall side. We're a Gary Rowett, shit Stoke City side that no one wants, because all the Millwall characters you're saying about we need someone that comes and hit them. Gary Rowett forced all the players that give a shit that come through in those last 5 years, that Millwallness that got us out of the fucking League One and moved us towards that top. We still had a Millwall still running for us. They're all gone, or they're all old, or they're all finished and they can't do it anymore. And we need to recruit that type of person. And it's very difficult to do that when you've got a manager previously at the club who did not instill the values of the club. And the values of the club are hard work, putting a tackle in, and fucking, you might not be the best football player in the world, but you put effort in all the time. And Gary Rowett, for me, never understood that. And that's why the Den never took to him, right? In this new system, I will accept getting beat 4, 5, 6, 7-0 if we try and play football and players are brave and get on the ball and show effort. But they didn't do that last night. So therefore, I asked, what are we doing? You know, that's my little caveat to that. I just think that everyone kind of needs a little bit of everyone needs a little bit of a reset, and it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to disconnect yourself from going, fuck me, we've been beat 3-0 here, even though it was 3-1. But you know what I mean? But it is frustrating when you watch players, as you said, that are not good enough or don't give enough effort. And it's even worse when they're lone players who you don't give a fuck about, really, for me. That's where I struggle.
It's always going to be, this was always going to be an experiment. And I don't know, I've always said that it's either going to go very, very right or very, very wrong. Obviously now, like just looking at the opening results, look, going to Sheffield Wednesday and giving them a hiding isn't the most difficult of things, but Coventry haven't been great this season, and they in Mark Robbins they've got a head coach who's changed the style of play, and it will bear fruit because they trust him implicitly, and it will bear fruit for them. And then going to a tough Ipswich side is always going to be difficult. So don't get me wrong, it's been a bit of a mini baptism of fire for Joe Edwards. There's a concern though and my concern is who's navigating the windows, because I can't see James Berylson chucking a load of money at it in January. Who's going to be out there recruiting? Is it going to be Alex Aldridge? Is it going to be Joe? Where do they start with this team? For me,
be Aldridge, Aaron, mustn't it? It must be Aldridge because they've made this big distinction between Edwards being head coach and Aldrich being sporting director. I can't remember what the title was that he's been given, head of football or something of that kind. So it must be Aldrich that's going to be doing the ins and the outs, because looking at the performance last night, I don't think it's too much of an exaggeration to say this. It needs a pretty radical clear out. I mean, you could probably clear at least half that team out. And
start at the back. You got to start in the heart of the defense. Look, we could sit and we could do a whole show on Hutch and Coops. For me, they were the best centre half pairing in the Championship a few seasons ago. They were the best out there. They were elite, and it's mad how the club kept them together, and great. But I said at the start of the season that the bodywork is starting to show signs of a bit of rust, a bit of damage, a couple of dents here and there, especially in Hutch yesterday. Hutch did not look comfortable yesterday on his own.
He never does.
And that's the thing. Dropping, I don't understand why Jake Cooper was rested or dropped, whatever.
No, I don't understand that. A big game to pitch Hutch straight into, Aaron, as well. I mean, you're going to get
mad. But Charlie Cresswell's a big miss. Big miss.
Yeah.
That youthful exuberance playing in that three. Millwall miss him so much.
Yeah, they missed Dan Ballard as well, Aaron.
Mate.
That's what they did the last 2 seasons, to defend them two. They had a ball-playing centre-back with them who had a little bit of recovery pace that could help him out of the problem. There was always 1 out of 3 available to pass the ball square to, and we didn't do it. We didn't go and get the person. We spent £1.2 million on a goalkeeper we don't play. We spent money on Byron. We spent money like we had no problem in terms of we're not Millwall. And it is bearing fruit now. It's like, how many fucking central midfielders does one club actually fucking need? Right? It's so ridiculous. And it's frustrating because we have done this show for years and the same things have been said for years under the previous manager. And this manager, this head coach, shall we say, is going to come in and everyone, and I want to defend Joe Edwards, even though I haven't liked some of the things that I've seen, I'm going to defend him in the sense that it's not his fault that this team is fucking shit, right? And I almost want to say that the players that we have available to us are simply not good enough. They were good last season because we played a system that suited them. The minute that we're trying to change into a different side, a side that we want to watch, they're unable to do that job. And realistically, it's almost not fair on them. It's almost, you're exposing players to things that they can't be exposed to. Do you understand?
This is a point I just want to come in on there, H, if I may, because that's an interesting point. And I was thinking about this earlier on today when I was in Sainsbury's. This is what I think about walking around Sainsbury's, listeners. Are we really asking so much of players? These are professionals. Let's not forget they are many of them are in their prime or they're just past their prime years as a professional. But what is Joe Edwards actually asking them to do? He's asking them to pass the ball to the blokes in the orange shirts, to not give it away. Basic stuff. This is what you should learn at. I mean, I was never any good as a footballer, so I'm going to say it. But what you learn at school in your local park. Control the ball, pass it, and don't make the percentage decision each time. That's kind of all that he's asking them to do. I do accept it's a different style to pump it forward in the channels and chase it. But are we really asking that much of them? Are we really asking that much of them, or is it?
Yes,
are we?
Yes, you are, because they're at Millwall for a fucking reason. All get down off your pedestal. There is a reason that they're at Millwall. Millwall don't pay the most money. That, like, this passing style of football, you have to recruit for that style of football, which we haven't recruited for because we've never done it before. So these players have been recruited for other attributes. Jake Cooper has been recruited because he's 6'7" and he wins headers and can hit a 45-yard diag. He was let go from Reading at the time because he couldn't play Yakstan's passing style of football, if you remember rightly. Sean Hutchinson was released from Fulham because he couldn't play their passing style of football. I'm not trying to highlight Jake and Hutch. I can remember where they come from and why they were released. Right? This is what you've got to understand. I do not want us to turn into fucking booing players that have given everything to Millwall for 5, 6, 7 seasons. But it's also about protecting what you've got and trying to be a little bit hard to beat. And that's what Rowett done really well away from home, but could never get the positiveness that you need to go on the front foot of the den. And all I wanted in the next manager, whoever that was, or head coach, or whatever, was an understanding of trying to utilise the Den and still being plucky little Millwall away from home. That's kind of what we're built on. And I'd like somebody, or I'd hope somebody at the club maybe could speak to Joe Edwards about a way of doing that doesn't involve being fucking suicidally open at the back. But, it's a very small sample size, and Ipswich I do take for a very, very good passing side. But there's a line of what you do to stop that team from doing the things that they do well.
No, my point with Millwall, H, is I take your points. But, I'm looking at the first goal, or any of the goals, actually, all of which were wide open, space and time. I mean, they exploited on the first two coming down our left. I think the right side for Ipswich come down our left, cross in, and then acres of space, absolute acres of space for clearly quality players to hit shots from the D or the edge of the penalty area. No one closing down, no one putting in the basics, which I think is what Joe Edwards is referring to, which is that you at least challenge your man in space. You get someone on them, and that wasn't switched on last night at all. Is that down to Edwards trying to aspire to a more modern style? Because other teams do it. I do take the point that we haven't done it, for many, ever, possibly, maybe once or twice in our history, but not very often, certainly not in the modern era. But is that really not just down to players not giving 100% to their manager? Because I watching it last night, my attention started fading halfway through the second half because I thought they're not trying, so why am I bothering here? And I'm sat in a nice warm front room. Is there not what's the right word? A spine, a backbone, and a willingness to accept defeat that's not very Millwall in this squad?
You say that though, Nick. Looking at the lineup now, you've got Bierkowski, Hutchinson, Wallace, Saville, and Bradshaw, who made up the spine of the side over the last few years, regardless of age, because having a bit of bollocks and spine is nothing to do with age. You've got Denore, who's everyone's banging on about how brilliant he's been since he started, which I agree with. And Harding, the last game against Sheffield Wednesday, everyone was saying how great Harding had done. Now, I think the thing is that I know what you're saying about starting certain players and doing this and doing that and that kind of thing. But to be fair to Edwards, I'm going to play this actually take some of the blame away from Edwards in this one. Because if you look, a lot of the changes and a lot of the people he's put in or a lot of the stuff he's been doing is what people were screaming out for to do under Gary Rowett, which Rowett never did. Now, I know that you guys like Cooper. I've spoke to Cooper personally a few times over the year, like end of season dinners and all that kind of stuff. Nice fella, really nice bloke. Can't knock him as a bloke, and he does a lot for Millwall, and he's played these 7,000 games or whatever it is. There's going to have a stand named after him or whatever. That's the same. I personally think this season, at the end of last season, he's not been particularly good. So when I saw that Cooper had been dropped, I personally was like, I'll go with that because Hutchinson's back. For me, Cooper's not the worst player who's ever played for us. Don't get me wrong. But for me, Cooper's always been as good as the player who plays alongside him. And when he has a Hutch or a real leader next to him, he looks very, very good. But when he's looked recently without that sort of leadership looking after him, he's looked exposed. So him being dropped for me was like, okay, that freshens it up. Harding, everyone's been saying since he scored and every time he comes in, give him more of a run in the side. All right, he's been given a run in the side. Nick, to quote you, again, not pointing fingers, but you've been a big flag bearer and like starting the campaign to give Mark who starts because he's not been getting enough under Rowett. Mark started. Campbell got dropped. Fleming's been put in a more attacking role. Saville, who was out in the wilderness under Rowett, he's now back in a firm sort of place in the centre midfield. These are players which, again, I'm not saying Joe Edwards listens to Millwall fans by any means. He's his own man.
He listens to our show.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, exactly what it is. But what I'm saying is that the changes that were made to the lineup was what people were absolutely screaming and shouting until they were blue in the face under Gary Rowett. And now they've been in, everyone's been like, well, he got that wrong. He got that wrong. He got that wrong. And I think as well, sorry, last one, and then I'll let someone else jump in. I think towards the end, what he was doing was when he was bringing Campbell on and some of these questionable subs like Honeyman on for Marku, that kind of thing. I don't know about you guys, but it stunk on me as a little bit, right? Look, I just want to see what these players can do because I need to decide in a few weeks which ones I'll get rid of or not.
Michael, I agree with that. Yeah.
Sorry, Uncle Nick. Miguel, and you know what? I think that be prepared, Achtung Millwall listeners, because I think a lot of us are going to butt heads over the next few months as Millwall try and sort of like work out where they are and what they're doing and stuff like that. But by saying that he listened to the fans by picking things and by making certain decisions and picking players and stuff like that, I don't think he did, and I don't think.
No, I was going to say, I don't think he necessarily.
Why would he listen?
No. That's my point. I don't think he necessarily listened to fans, but I think he's made the changes that the fans were asking for, and it might just be a coincidence.
Then he's fucked. Then he's fucked. There's day 3 and he's fucked. If he's already bowing to the fans, he's fucked. At the end of the day, Joe Edwards was brought in because he's supposed to be this brilliant footballing mind in terms of as a coach. Now, again, I go back to my original statement being this is either going to go horribly right or horribly wrong, because you're not employing a manager. He is not Neil Warnock. He's not Tony Pulis. He's not Big Sam. He's someone who's coming in as a head coach who's basically, his job is to coach. His job is to coach with a little bit of man management chucked in. You've got a head of football operations in Alex Aldridge who's going to go there and he's going to do the bid zone and he's going to pick up the rest of the slack. It's a very modern system. But again, I want to go back to what Harry said about having the right players to play a system. Now, we talk about Ipswich, we look at what they do. Mate, obviously I've been around them now for 6-7 months in terms of working for the club, and I've learned so much about how they operate. Millwall are not there yet. Ipswich weren't there yet 3 years ago. This is going to be a process. It will get ugly. When Kieran McKenna first went into Portman Road, they were shit. It took him months to work out who needs to do what. He had some of those tools there. Players like Sam Morsey, players like Caden Jackson, who's willing to run. And Caden Jackson's a bit part player now, but players who are willing to run, Harry Clark willing to run, people like that are willing to play the system. Do Millwall have the players that are going to be able to execute Joe Edwards' game plan to perfection? The simple answer is no. We talk about Denore, beautiful passer of the ball. Does he do enough in midfield to go and does he do what Sam Morsey does? Does he do what Massimo Luongo does? No. Yeah, he's a great player to have in a midfield 3. Murray Wallace, we're talking about attacks, mate. Wes Burns will never have an easier night. He had acres and acres and acres.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Murray Wallace, he was on toast the whole night. The fact of the matter is that if I'm trying to build a wall and I've got a fucking roller and a brush, I ain't going to build that wall. I need a trowel. I need my cement mixer. I need to be able to have those resources at hand to build something. The question is he going to get the patience from the fan base if Millwall keep getting stuffed? Yeah. The board will give him patience because this is their decision, and it's a huge decision.
It's also Berylson's first appointment.
Huge decision. Is it the right appointment? In my opinion, no. I think that Millwall should have gone for Nathan Jones. I think Nathan Jones would have been able to have done something with this squad and would have harnessed the atmosphere. There's concern because come January, if January's a shambles again,
we can't keep getting battered. I mean, we have been battered a number of times this season, haven't we? I mean, we're under Rowett, we were getting battered by teams, and Saturday, obviously Coventry 3-0, and last night we were. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, I'm just on that point. What did everyone used to say about Millwall? Hard to beat. That was the basis of Millwall being hard to beat. And
I think they all said a few things about Millwall, Harry. That was probably one of the nicer ones.
That was one of the nicer ones, but that used to be our standard. Millwall hard to beat. It's a difficult place to go. All of that has fallen away like fucking, British Leyland in the 70s.
There's a reference I wasn't expecting, but yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And the point is, I agree so much with Aaron that it's unbelievable, and I'm not just trying to say it because Aaron works for the BBC and trying to cover favour, but I liked the ambition of the appointment. I loved it. It's brilliant. It's great. We want to be this way, but we're not. We're fucking Millwall. Unfortunately, you're not the chairman of Forest Green Rovers, and you're not the chairman of where people turn up and they want patience. You're in charge of a batshit crazy football club still has elements of people that turn up and want to basically see someone fucking kick someone, really, for lack of a better word. I understand this idea of people wanting us to play football and whatever, but that's Twitter bollocks for me. The people that actually turn up, you know, you can put up with Rowett's football as long as we're winning. The minute finally everyone turned on Rowett, is the fact that we stopped winning. Yeah, you know, it's what happens with all football managers. Even when Mourinho's getting fucking, you know, gets results and gets titles, people don't like the football. But it's bollocks, right? This idea that football fans now are entitled to think that everyone should play, you know, Man City or Liverpool style of football. The problem for me is that we're Millwall. We've got, I know, and then fucking Neil Fizzler is sitting at home somewhere shouting small wall mentality and all this other shit. It's a realistic mentality that, as Aaron says, you know, to change the amount of players we need to play this style, we probably need 4.
Yeah, but Harry, okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying. That means that we can never aspire to be anything better than a League One to Championship shuttle club, one that is basically built on the idea that we've got Steve Morrison up front, we've got Lee Gregory alongside him. If we keep hitting balls to play, no, all right. So versions of that, someone like it, and that's as good as it's ever going to get. So how do other teams? I mean, all right, with money, the great leveler of everything, money. But you know, I've seen Brentford pull themselves up from being a very, very poor money, yeah, but at Bournemouth the same. But money. I mean, these were not, money. But okay, but it's got to be that you have some aspiration to be more than just a lump it forward club. Otherwise, then I can tell you where we'll be in. When I finish up my days, we'll be in League One or maybe in the lower reaches of the Championship. Maybe that's all it is.
Uncle Nick, I understand your concern. So when Harry exited the chat, I said money, and then I just see a message. Brentford, everyone will consider Brentford the darlings of it. Can you come back? Can Harry come back?
Yeah. You come back.
No. Go away.
Oh no, it's just us two, Aaron.
Oh my God, what is going right? I haven't hosted an AchtungMillwall in a long time, but hey, I'm here now.
Go on, crack on, go. I'll get Nick's back now. I'll
get
Nick's point.
Okay.
I'll get Nick's point. I also get what Harry's saying, but it's what I can keep continuously saying over and over and over and over again. And Nick's touching on it there. What do we want to be, and is this all we want to be? Because you know, you can have your Saturday afternoons down the den and it can all be brilliant, it can all be great, don't get me wrong. And I know money comes into it, Aaron, we've said, you know, the last 20, 25 years of English football with...
Rome wasn't built in a day, but they had fucking bricks. They had bricks, they had men, and they had, you know, butterfly ties to put in the walls. They had tools to do it. People, do you guys not remember when Brentford were dog shit in the early days?
I remember it very, very well. They were taken over by their fans because they went bankrupt.
No. Forget that. I'm talking about when Benham came in. When Benham came in, and they had those weird sort of times when they were trying to sign these players from abroad, and they're going off stats. Mate, they had their time. They did it with money. Yeah, Benham is a gambler, a serial gambler. He is a professional gambler. He went out, he gambled, he banked on them getting to the Premier League. He made his money back. Great, cool. Bournemouth, little old Bournemouth, plucky old Bournemouth. Let me tell you something. I challenge you. Go and find the year they won the Championship. They got promoted. Look at the size of the squad they had. Look at the names they had in that squad. Yeah? Benicophobe, Glenn Murray, etc., etc., etc. These players had money. They were owned by a Russian, Maxim Denim, and they go on and Eddie Howe. You know, Eddie Howe's a darling, and you're beautiful, like great football. I don't dispute they play good football. He had the resources at his disposal. Let me tell you something. We are a bit blindsided by this as well, because show of hands, who the fuck knew what style of football Joe Edwards wanted to play before he come to Millwall? Any hands?
You didn't know that because we didn't know who he was. But
Uncle Nick, who knows now?
Well, it seems to be, and this is I'm going to sound a bit
one of them the other team score.
Well, the aspiration, and I'm airy-fairy time, listeners. You come to this show for a bit more than just a bit of effing and blinding, don't you? You know, so we're going to go down the route. No. But he's trying to play what I would call a modernist style of football, which isn't your what I would call the old school hit it into channels, chase after it, and pump it in the box. He's trying to pass the ball around, work angles and spaces in a way that aspires to be like a Premier League side, I suppose, played at the top level. Now, whether he can be successful or not, I don't know. I don't think this squad is up. I don't think this squad is up to it. I don't think they're spiritually up to it, Harry, in the sense of they've got the arsehole, mate, for it.
Aaron, can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Cool, mate.
So, in terms of his style that he's talking about playing, he wants to, by the looks of it, play a pass type style. Would it not more Millwall-ish, sticking to our roots, to be a Klopp rock and roll football, Gurgen press? But that is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And I try and say that I've not got no problem. It's lovely and ambitious, but it's the wrong type of ambition. The blueprint's fine, but the actual nuts and bolts to it will not work, because I don't think it can work at Millwall.
Yeah, but
It's Guardiolaism. No, it's Guardiolaism. We're seeing it everywhere, mate. We're seeing it trickle down the football leagues. We are watching it trickle down. It's this element of Pep Guardiola coming to this country saying everyone has to play tippy-tappy football. Everyone has to play out from the back. Mate, playing out from the back fucked Millwall last season. You know why?
Thank you.
Gary Rowett sat there and goes, Bart Bielkowski, he ain't got no feet. No, mate, he's just got 2 lumps of fucking lead and he knows how to stick it 100 yards up the field. Oh, let's bring in George Long. What happened to George Long? Mate, George Long is getting hung out to dry by Norwich fans right now.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Look, he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy. Don't get me wrong. But Gary was so convinced by this whole let's play out from the back element that it just... Oh, fuck. It didn't work. Back off! Yeah, that's George Long. That's George Long. George Long
ringing.
Mate, Bart was solid. Yes, Bart had the occasional flap, but he's a brilliant shot stopper. What happens then? You kill his confidence, it goes down. What is it? It's Guardiolaism. We need to play out from the back. Mate, let me tell you something. You can play out from the back. You can play it 10 yards in front of you to Sean Hutchinson and Jake Cooper. Do you know what they're going to do? They're going to look for a fucking diac. They're going to look. And then what's the point? What are you doing? Who cares about playing out from the back? We are following too many trends, and that is the problem with football throughout. Mate, speak to people about it every day. If you haven't got a Ferrari, why are you taking part in this race? Why are you letting a 6'8" centre half called Dave, who's 20 stone, fucking go on, mate, play it from the back. Go on, bring it forward, Dave. Go on, mate, enjoy yourself, Dave. If he wants to, at the end of the day, let centre halves be centre halves. We don't have to follow this trend. Now, Harry, I'm with you. People need to look at Millwall and think, right, what can we harness? Harness the den. Gary Rowett never did it. But his best performances are when Millwall played rock and roll football. Think Sheffield United last season. Sheffield United is one of the best games.
Millwall chaos. That's right.
Mate,
yeah.
Millwall chaos.
Yeah, that's it.
All I want is people 2-footing each other. Yeah. I want to see putting his bits everywhere. And I want to hear the fucking Monks chant blowing my head up. Mate, there was a point last season against Sheffield United. The Monks chant was so loud, I got a buzz down the line going, is that a goal? And I'm like, no. And they're like, what is that noise? And I was like, mate, it's the Millwall fucking chimes. Yeah, it's the Millwall chimes. This is what it's all about. When that fucking concrete gaff is just like rolling, there's nothing like it. But you need the right football to harness it. This is never going to be Man City. You know why? Because you're never going to find technical players who can play that brand of football. That's why I said Nathan Jones, he knew what Luton needed. Play 3-5-2, be rigid, be strong, and harness Kenilworth Road. And they did it.
There's a wonderful meme. Elon Muscat out there. Big shout out to Elon Muscat. Elon Muscat.
That's definitely not a real name.
No, Elon Muscat, but he's done a series of. He's got Joe Edwards wearing his Nike England coach's jacket. Then there's a picture of someone rubbing their glasses with a glass wiper. And then the picture below that is of Steve Lomas. So that's the sequence. So we go from seeing Joe Edwards, wipe your glasses, and then Steve Lomas appears.
Very clever. It's a very, 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 very short sample size. But in 3 more games' time after we've played Sunderland, Leicester, and I can't remember the other one, is it Cardiff? If we have lost all 3 of them games by 3 goals, are we are we allowed to say that we've employed another snake oil salesman like Holloway? You know, did he interview really well, and that's it? Anyone can talk really well about football. The proof
Harry, I'm sorry, I don't agree with that at all. I don't. I'm sorry, mate, and I'm sorry to cut off. I just think at the moment.
I did say at the moment.
No. All right, okay, fine. But what's happening at the moment might lead to these results. I think at this moment in time, no one should panic too much about Edwards. But the elephant in the room is we need to really focus on what's going on. There is clearly a problem with our playing staff at the moment. There is clearly
100%.
Yeah, there's clearly a problem with no matter who they're paying for at the moment, because the thing was as well is that Gary Rowett, they don't plan to him. Oh, it's all Rowett this and Rowett that. Fine, Rowett's gone. But you've got this new manager who's come in. It's fresh as a daisy. It seems publicly fresh as a daisy. Seems really, really good. He's bringing in these new ideas. He's done this. He's been with Tuchel. He's been an England under-20 manager. He's had a 4-0 away win, regardless against Sheffield Wednesday. But anyways, he had a 4-0 away win. And now suddenly no one gives a toss anymore. So where is the positivity gone in 2 weeks?
Interesting photo. I knew it was foggy watching on TV last night. Aaron, you were there. I didn't realise just how foggy it was. There's a picture here from Kat Robbins. Shout out to Kat. She's taking a picture. It really is quite dense in the stadium last night. I didn't realise it was that foggy. I don't know if that made any impact on.
We were wearing bright orange just to combat that. We still couldn't fucking find it.
I've got a selection, just a couple of posts from the Twitter, the X. Kieran Mill says, when are people going to realise that Rowett wasn't the problem? It was the players, says Kieran. Ben Anthony, show regular. Big questions need to be asked about Zian Fleming, your point, Aaron, earlier on. He's been chronically shit, says Ben. Deserves to be dropped for a period. Trouble is very few options to replace him with.
Can I go back to the first message? Sorry, who was that from about Rowett?
This was Kieran Mill. When are people going to realise that Rowett wasn't the problem? It was the players.
Rowett was the problem. Rowett, I just don't understand how he was. He just looked bored. He looked bored. He looked like he wasn't interested anymore, and his pragmatic way of thinking wasn't what James Berylson wanted. He was the problem. Joe Edwards wasn't the answer. That's the difference. For me, Nathan Jones would always be in the
interesting. Emotional one says brutally honest interview from Joe Edwards on Sky, criticising for the players for not doing the basics right, and for me, spot on, says the emotional one. These players need to start taking responsibility for their poor performance. I'm with the emotional one, chaps, because I do think you can talk about formations, etc., but when players are being left in space and no one closing them down, then that comes down to the 11.
That's all.
Defense,
sorry, in there. That at the moment in time, that is my sentiment to the club at the moment. It's like you just said, their emotional one. I was saying it. So I was doing the face last night, and I said it before the call started, and I'll say it again. Allowing teams who move the ball and play as confident as Ipswich are that much time and space to do things. I mean, there was one point in the second half. I mean, how many times did they try and do those cheeky little flicks over our back line? And a couple of times it came off, and then they tried about 3 or 4 in a row trying to do that Ole football. And a couple of times we just let them do it. That's not tactical. Joe Edwards doesn't go, if they're trying to mug you off and flick it over your head, let them do it, is he? That is a playing decision. But sorry, I'll cut you off. Continue.
I was really struck by the speed, pace, and power that Ipswich showed last night. We gave them on a plate. I don't, that's all a caveat. But they just look like the kind of side that would love us to be.
They don't do anything revolutionary. Trust me.
No, I didn't know. I agree. But just move the ball, pass it into space, move it.
Thank you. Be a space investigator. And again, both their goals come off the right, off of Wes Burns, because he realised, mate, Murray Wallace is, blowing a gasket. I'll get up there. And trust me, I'll make space. And the thing is that they're so disciplined in what they do. And I've watched it firsthand. McKenna's so focused, so disciplined. They will play good football, but they know how to attack well as a team. They know how to play well as a team. Yesterday, I watched Millwall, and they look disjointed. And that's the key difference.
100%. I see you looking at your calendar. I'm going to give you a
shout out actually and say thank you, Uncle Nick.
You're welcome, mate.
Calendar. Sean Hutchinson on the front cover. I've looked through the pictures. And yeah, mate, what a lovely calendar. This is a lovely gift for anyone out there, by the way. Christmas en route. Are we doing a club shop Christmas special at some point, Michael? What we doing? Are we?
We
Yeah,
have
go on,
to.
why
We
not?
have to. We have
Go on,
to.
why
We
not?
have to. We must.
Club
The
shop Christmas special, but this is
public
not
clamour.
available in the club shop, is it? It's not available in the club shop. It's
No, you can go online. You can get it on Saturday. That's the reason I was going to saw you with it. We've got there's an MSC stand which is behind the Coldblow Lane End stand. They've got some on there.
We like
And
to call it the awning.
the awning, the MSC awning, which is right by the fan zone, and also Kelly on the food hub. £10 cash, coin of the realm, listeners, and you can go home with exactly that calendar that Aaron is brandishing. You can't see it because we don't do video on this show.
I'm going to model it in the nude soon. Calendar girls, calendar guys.
Oh no.
Uncle Nick's doing his own one. Check out his OnlyFans for more details.
I was going to say, Aaron, put it on Nick's OnlyFans link that he set up.
All donations from Uncle Nick's OnlyFans go to Millwall Lions Food Hub.
You can get it online. You can get with the calendar, not that what Aaron's on about, but you can get the calendar online. I've got set up a bit of a performance, setting up a square shop. I must admit, I was breaking new ground in my internet experience there, listeners. But anyway, I've done it, so you can get it on there. But other than that, if cash is your thing, go to the MSC awning or to Kelly on the food hub. She's got a bunch there as well. So hopefully we can get some more money for the food hub.
I was going to say, last thing before we go, who's looking forward to Sunderland on Saturday?
We're going to have to expect a response. We'll be looking for a response, and let's see what we get. So anyway, till Saturday, I want to say a big thank you, Harry Warren, from a secret location somewhere in southeast part of England.
Bye, see you later. There you go, I've done it for him.
Big thank you, Michael Avery. Impersonator of Harry Warren.
Thank you for listening to a call that at one point only me and Aaron were the only two on, dear listeners. So yeah,
it's been chaos this call, and big thank you, Aaron Paul. Thank you, mate. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
He's muted, so I'll say bye for him as well. There we are.
All right, mate. Take care. All the best. Thanks. Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
See you later.
Achtung, Millwall.
Yes, indeed. That was a chaotic call. We had internet outages. We had people knocking on people's doors, work situations, my end flopping out on me. You name it, listeners. We had it. But anyway, big thank you to the chaps for organising at reasonably short notice to give you a bit of a response to last night's debacle at Portman Road. I can't let you all go, listeners, without answering our punditgames.co.uk question. This is the number one football trivia game. We asked a question before today's show about another Croatian midfield dynamo, not Luka Modric, another Premier League Croatian dynamo, played for Spurs and Portsmouth. Harry Redknapp loved him. Played for Spurs 2009 to 2012. Pompey before that 2006 to 2009. Played for the Croatian national side 81 times, scoring 16 goals. And his name was Niko Kranjčar. Niko Kranjčar. Do select the Achtung Millwall drop-down option if you order the Pundit Games at punditgames.co.uk, and the Lions Food Hub gets a little boomsy as a result, and that's a good cause and it's a great game. Thank you for listening, dear listeners. Apologies for the sound quality and all the rest of it. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Till the next show. Bye for now.